Alright guys, welcome back. It's the RC Guru YouTube channel. Today we're doing a little bit on the budget build. The cage, the moon buggy budget build. I know you see a cage up here. This is not the cage that we'll be using. This is more of a raised cage. It's fairly long, it's got a long snout on it. But we are going to be using, I can introduce you to some of the things. We might as well start. We are going to be using these beauties here. AR60s. Nice, we got nice purple accents. These are Yeah Racing outers, Yeah Racing inners. There's a Vanquish XVDs and Boom Racing perches. Yeah Racing truss mount and a Vanquish servo mount. This is Vanquish steering arm and steering link, and K&K makes the purple hardware. The back one just has lockouts by Yeah Racing. So these are pretty cool. These are awesome axles. Super wide. As you can see, brand new pretty much. My personal ones. Brand new. There we are. Good spin on that. So that's what we're using for axles. AR60s. What are we going to use for a transmission? We're using a 3-gear. We're going with this baby I picked up used, but it's not used. It's brand new. See, there's no screws even in the bottom of it. So I replaced all the gears in it with axial HD gears. So all metal, plastic spur. You want a weak point. So the spur will be the weak point. It also has a slipper clutch in it. So we'll install that today on our skid. But budget build. So I got this used, $15. Okay. I got this motor. Let's open it up right now. A lot of the stuff I got off the Jungle website. You guys know what I'm talking about. Nothing was sponsored. Everything was paid for by myself. And like and subscribe. We can keep stuff like this going. So what kind of motor am I going to use? Well, I went on that website, that app, and I searched for motor and ESC combos. I knew I wasn't getting a Fusion, but I found this one. It's a brushed 27 turn, 3 slot, 540. Nothing wrong with this motor. Right? This is the same motor that's been coming in. This is the upgrade motor. Everybody, yeah, look, it almost says axial on that side. It's almost an axial symbol. Look. There's an axial symbol. Anyway, so motor and ESC. The ESC that came with this motor is like a KYRC. 320 amp burst, brushless ESC. Right now we will set it to, there's dip switches on the front here. Do this just to get it out of the way. We are doing a crawler, so we want forward and reverse, no stopping. And then lipo is that way. So the only one we have to move is this first one. And you just pull them off. My fingers just can't get at them, guys. Without breaking them now. Let's go with the first one. Take them both off. There. Now, all this is, there's 3 pins on this little ESC, and it's just telling it to do different things. It's telling it whether it wants to be a crawler ESC or a basher ESC. When you use a basher, you have a stop between forward and reverse, and when you're crawling, you just want instant forward and reverse. And this other set of pins is to tell the ESC, am I going to use NiCads or LiPos? And if you're still using NiCads, nickel cadmium batteries, might as well you be using AA's. So we set that to LiPo, and then we got our ESC, and we got our motor. And this was $16. So we're up to 30. Then I got an old twister. Works perfectly fine. ESC, or sorry, servo. Twister servo. 7.4 volts. I think they produce 22 kilograms, something like that. 200 or 300 ounces. That's all we're going to need. I got an old BEC. We'll keep this all at, I don't know how good the BEC is on this. What's it say? It's only 2 amps. So what's this? Well, this is 3 amps. Max 5. Well, that's great. So anyway, we have to put a proper end on it for a battery. We have to solder this BEC into this EEC at some point. ESC. And then we got links for the project too. A whole thing of links we can assemble. And now it said Wraith links because I wanted to go with the Wraith width. And then when the links showed up, well, wouldn't you know it, there's only 8. Okay, well, a Wraith has a servo mounted on the axle, and you need 10. Because there's 8 links, and then 2 for steering. So, I'll have to... That's a steering link, is it not? I don't know. I'll have to use these other links. Hope they're long enough. These top ones aren't. Anyway, shit you deal with. There's a straight one. That's the other turning one. These links. I think these links were $11. So we're at 1, 2, 3. There we go. Garbage out of the way. There's our ball ends. They're decent. They just screw right in. But like I said, the links we're short links, which sucks. So we gotta figure the links out. So, see? We're missing a set. Probably these ones. Something like that probably work. Anyway, we'll figure the links out after and we can put the ends on after. We also have a skid plate. And the skid plate was like $9. I got this a long time ago. You can see it has the perches. They have to attach to the bottom. So it's not ideal. It's not flat. I might be able to make it flat once I get the buggy in and see what its bottom looks like. Because you see how this buggy, it has so many options, right? So you put that in there and then you need lower and upper links. So you really could run your links lowers and uppers. But you always want to do an X. So you got to come from the middle at some point. So I guess I really do need to install those. Okay, well let's Loctite them in so they don't ever come out. One side didn't want to come out anyway, so we'll call that good. And then we'll put just a little fucking dab of Loctite on these, because these are not the best screws, and well, we don't want to be fighting with it later, but we don't want it to fall apart now, do we? We don't want to fight with it, but we don't want it to fall apart. So Loctite. A dab will do ya. Trust me. This stuff looks like red, but it's not red. It's a Horizon red. It comes with the builder's kit for an axial, and it's more like a purple. If you don't know what purple is, purple is for what we work on, the RC hobby. Small stuff. So these are CNC'd, so they fit together nice and pretty like. And they just, bam, screw together just like that. And then that leaves you with a completed skid with those little perchy buddies on the bottom. You know? That's upside down. So we might as well, I guess we could put the transmission on that. That would make it look pretty cool. So which way do we want our motor in the buggy? Forward or backwards? I guess it doesn't matter. Because this just flips. It can go both ways. Okay, pan heads there. Gotcha. Okay, let's go with the outside then. And we will use a little dab of Loctite. Just a tiny bit. I don't want to be fighting with this stuff later. Boom, bam. Where's our screw? Right, yeah. Okay. First time a screw's going in this brand new hot racing casing. Hot racing casing. That's quite the saying. That screw is just a hair too long. Sorry guys, I don't want it to scratch up my case and stuff, and it's nice looking, you know? It's a nice looking case. Okay, so we need to find out the screws then, that's not an issue. Blackheads, not them. Alright, a stash. Hold on. Alright, I'm back and I found my little miscellaneous jug of screws. So, we'll find what we need here first. We know we need... Is that shorter than what we're using? Same length, no good. We need some short pan heads. Yeah, one of them will work just fine. There's number 2. Just fine. And then we need to get shorter. Shorter countersunk ones. That's no problem. Alright. So a little bit of Loctite. Just so it doesn't fall apart, because it's metal on metal. Two-millimeter screws in through the bottom. Go into the transmission. Nothing better than a CNC part going together with another CNC part. It's like Lego for adults. It's great. I don't know if you guys like watching me build or hearing me talk, but I like having you here. I like doing this. See what I'm doing? I'm getting the transmission mounted on the skid plate. Now, because I use Loctite, you don't have to torque screws down or anything, and I got to remember to find 2 countersunk screws. But that's what the transmission and the skid plate looks like so far. That's nice. That's nice. That's a clean unit. For used parts, there's not a whole lot wrong with that. Okay, now we got to get the front off, because we got to put the motor on and we got to pick a pinion at some point. I think we can do that afterwards. We can get the motor installed though. The motor needs to be soldered, but we'll do that after. I'm straightening up the tabs on the back of the motor. When you spend $16, you expect to get a high quality motor. The brushes on it, compared to a motor you would buy, are about a third of the size. It feels good though. It has a little bit of resistance. I'm sure it'll work just fine for what we need it to do. So we get the cover off the axial 3 gear. This one I just used 2mm screws again. And there's 3 that hold the cover on, and I only use 2. Because I put one in for a dowel basically. Also known as the head snapped off. Now it's right there. Anyway, that comes off, you're left with your spur gear right there. Spur gear on top of an axial 3 gear, see? Axial. And then this motor goes in like so. Put them in like that. We get a couple motor screws. Line the holes up. And we don't need to pick a pinion today. Oh, look at that. What's that? It's got a second lip on it. Catch him. Anyway, when the motor's screwed down, it'll fix that, no problem. So, what do we need to mount the motor up? They gotta be short and they gotta be good screws. I don't know if this can... How far I can get that going there? Let's try this. These aren't the best screws, but they hold them in there. They'll hold it. Let's go for a bottom one. They only got 2 mounting holes, eh? Interesting. Get what you pay for it yet again. If it's not made for this transmission, it's not made to go in, because this is the transmission. They've been making axial 3 gears for 20 years, over 20 years. Alright, a couple screws in there for now. Is that bottom out and stop the rotor? Still moving. And it will be something like that. And there's your motor package. I like the green on green. That kind of works. So we'll eventually get a pinion put on that. We'll try and get something low. But that's a pretty nice setup so far. Nice. Okay, so now we'll set this aside, because that was super fun. And now we'll start putting the ends on links, because they got to go on regardless. So you stay with that. Those are your screws. Tip the cover over. Throw the screws right in there. They won't go anywhere. This motor needs wires. Put it up there in the to-do pile. That servo can also get thrown on that axle at some point. That twister servo. I'll have to find some screws for that. I'm gonna have to hunt down a lot of screws here. Okay. Oh, you even got a hot tomato on the floor, or whatever you call it. One went for a run, didn't go too far though. Okay, first thing you want to do when you're doing links is look at your ball ends, rod ends, and you want to make sure that none of them are angled in any way, because if they are, then they're different. These are great because they have a like a nut around the outside. It's almost like a, anyway, it helps you out tremendously. I'm just looking for something to grab with. I guess you could just use a pair of pliers for everyone. And these are really quite easy because they put kinks in them. When they're straight is when they're hard. Well, we'll come back. Alright, welcome back. I don't remember where I left you, but this is where we're picking up at. I think it was at the links. Anyway, I built the links. And look. Ooh, I got it all. The bottom links assembled. We don't have a cage yet. We got axles. Our bottom links. Our skid. Our hot racing, fully built, on the cheap, motor on the cheap, rear axles, links on the cheap, everything as cheap as we can get. Right now we are, ooh, that's gonna be a, I want that angle up like that. Right, next thing to go in, we're going to throw the servo in. So we're just going to use, like I said, a twister servo. We're just going to throw it right in the front. We're not going to have rear steer with this one because I don't have another axle, and that's the rules. Okay, 4 screws. Proper screwdriver. Always. Right there. Where do we want this? Okay, we should have this like this. The way the rod is. Yeah, that'll line up best with the servo arm that's hanging off the front there. Oh yes, bang these bottom out. Sorry, these little perches here, they like certain type of screws. See on the back, there's no, for the bottom anyway, there's no pass through. So you only get so much thread depth. Think you're tight and you're just bottoming out. Bottoming out, yo. So this isn't too bad for, I think, guys, for just stuff we're finding and stuff that we got on the super cheap off the jungle site. Used parts. Yeah. Awesome. That doesn't really need to be in the way right now. And we don't have a cage, so we're kinda waiting at this point. If you look at the cage above here, you can see its mounting points. We connected onto the bottom, but both cages have this kind of stamped steel here, so we're going to use the uppers for the uppers. Okay, so it's not going to be this cage, but it'll be a different cage, right? Yeah, this cage buggy comes together so quick. And it's about 13.5 inches for wheelbase. Yeah. So we're not using this cage. Let me know if you want me to use this cage for a build. But we're waiting on a special buggy cage. That's more of a wraith cage. Anyway, that's good for today. We'll pick up another spot when we got more to do. I could mount this and solder a different end on it, the ESC, but I don't think you guys want to watch that. Me pulling sticky tape and finding a sneaky spot to put this. And plus, we don't have the cage. I might just stick it on the inside of the cage. Might stick it on the back. There, who knows, right? Still gonna find a spot for a battery and everything else. Like and subscribe. Thank you.